Jin-Ho Park couldn't believe it. After years of saving money, he had finally bought his own house. He held the keys in his hand, looking at the small two-story building with its peeling paint and overgrown yard. It wasn't perfect, but it was his. The wiring needs work, and there's some water damage in the bathroom, the real estate agent had told him. And the basement, well, it needs some attention, but that's why the price was so good. Jin-Ho didn't mind. As a software engineer, he made enough money to fix things up over time. He liked solving problems. After 3 days of unpacking boxes and arranging furniture, Jin-Ho decided to check out the basement. He switched on his flashlight and walked down the creaky wooden stairs. The basement was cold and smelled like old books. Dust floated in the beam of his flashlight. The previous owners had left behind stacks of boxes, old furniture, and things covered with sheets. Jin-Ho sighed. Cleaning this would take weeks. He moved around the space, planning what to throw away first. As he pushed an old bookshelf to the side, he noticed something strange. There was a thin line in the wall that didn't match the rest of the basement. It looked like a door. Jin-Ho ran his fingers along the line and pushed. To his surprise, a section of the wall moved inward. It was a hidden door. What the? Jin-Ho whispered, shining his light into the space beyond. The room was small but filled with technology that looked nothing like anything Jin-Ho had ever seen. Metal panels with strange symbols covered the walls. Lights pulsed in patterns on what looked like control panels. In the center of the room sat a pod-shaped object about the size of a bed. The pod was made of a smooth, silver material that seemed to glow slightly. Jin-Ho stepped closer, fascinated and terrified at the same time. Was this some kind of science experiment? A movie prop? Before he could decide what to do, the pod made a hissing sound. A line appeared down the middle, and the top half began to lift. Jin-Ho stepped back, nearly falling over a box behind him. He wanted to run, but curiosity kept him frozen in place. Inside the pod was a woman. At first glance, she looked human, but as she sat up, Jin-Ho noticed the differences. Her skin had a subtle blue color that seemed to shift in the light. Her eyes were larger than normal and a deep violet color. Her dark hair moved strangely, almost as if it was floating in water. The woman looked at Jin-Ho without speaking. Her eyes seemed to scan him from head to toe. Then her face broke into a warm smile that made her look almost human. "Husband," she said in perfect Korean, "you've finally found me." Jin-Ho's mouth fell open. The woman climbed out of the pod with graceful movements. She wore a simple silver outfit that matched the pod material. "I've been waiting for so long," she said, walking toward him. "The house sensors told me someone had moved in, but I wasn't sure if it was you." Before Jin-Ho could back away, the woman wrapped her arms around him in a tight hug. Her skin felt warm but different from human skin, smoother, almost like fine silk. "I am Mary," she said, pulling back to look at his face. "Your wife." Jin-Ho finally found his voice. "Wife? I'm not. What are you talking about? What are you?" Nari tilted her head. "You don't know? Didn't your family tell you about the agreement? About me?" "I don't know what you're talking about," Jin-Ho said, taking a step back. "Who are you? What are you doing in my basement?" "Your basement?" Nari laughed. "I've been here for 27 years. I think it's more my basement than yours." She looked around. "Though I admit, I've mostly been in stasis." Jin-Ho felt dizzy. "Wait, what?" Jin-Ho sat on his kitchen stool, head in his hands, as Neri moved around his kitchen like an excited child in a toy store. 300 years ago, Jin-Ho asked, watching as she pressed the microwave buttons with fascination. "Yes," Neri said casually. "The marriage contract is very old. Your great-great-great-grandfather signed it. His name was Park Jun-seo. He understood the importance of the agreement." Jin-Ho shook his head in disbelief. "What agreement? I don't understand any of this." Nary stopped playing with the microwave and turned to face him. The agreement to host a Siwa when the time came. That's me. I'm Siwa. Siwa? Jinho repeated. Is that where you're from? It's what we are, Nari explained. She walked to the refrigerator and opened it, her violet eyes widening at the light inside. She closed the door, then opened it again. Amazing, she whispered. Jinho watched as she repeated this action 5 more times. Are you telling me you're an alien? Nari nodded, still focused on the refrigerator. We've been watching Earth for a very long time. Hundreds of years. She closed the refrigerator door again and walked to the sink, turning the water on and off. Your world is perfect for us. Our home system is dying. The star is becoming unstable. Jinho was about to ask another question when his doorbell rang. He jumped up, suddenly panicked. Stay here, he told Nari. Don't touch anything else. He opened the front door to find his new neighbor, Dawon, standing there with a plant. Hello, neighbor, Dawon said with a friendly smile. I brought you a housewarming gift. It's a peace lily. They clean the air. Thank you, Jinho said nervously, taking the plant. That's very kind. Who is this? Came Nari's voice from behind him. Jinho turned to see her standing there, examining Dawon with obvious interest. This is my neighbor, Dawon, Jinho said, his mind racing. Dawon, this is my cousin, Nari. She's visiting from a very remote province. Nice to meet you, Dawon said, extending his hand for a handshake. Nari stepped forward with a serious expression. Instead of taking his hand, she reached up and gently touched both of Dawon's ears with her fingertips. Dawon stepped back, surprised. What was that? Jinho laughed nervously. It's a traditional greeting from her region. Very old custom. Sorry, I should have warned you. Oh, Dawon said, looking confused. Interesting. Well, I should let you two catch up. Let me know if you need anything, neighbor. After Dawon left, Jinho closed the door and leaned against it, his heart racing. You can't touch people's ears when you meet them. That's not how we greet people here. I was checking his energy pattern, Nari said. It's polite among Siwa. That night, after Jinho had shown Nari how to use basic household items and made her promise not to take apart his toaster, they sat in the living room. Nari showed Jinho a small device on her wrist. It looked like a silver bracelet with tiny lights. This is my communicator, she explained. It can reach our ships in orbit around your planet, but it's damaged. It needs repair. Jinho stared at the bracelet. There are more of you, in ships, above Earth, right now. Nari nodded. Many more. They're waiting for my signal. She touched the device gently. But without this working, I can't tell them I found you. Why would you need to tell them about me? Jinho asked. Because you're the one we've been waiting for. The descendant of Park Junseo. The one who would honor the agreement. She looked at Jinho with hope in her eyes. Will you help me fix it? Jinho wasn't sure why he nodded. Maybe it was the way Nari looked at ordinary things like refrigerators with such wonder. Or maybe it was just that his life had become so strange in the past few hours that helping an alien fix her communication bracelet seemed like the logical next step. Your people think they're alone in the universe, Nari said quietly, looking out the window at the night sky. Soon, they'll learn they're not. I hope they're ready. Jinho followed her gaze to the stars. I'm not sure I'm ready myself. 1 week had passed since Nari had emerged from the pod in Jinho's basement. Every day, she spent hours trying to fix her wrist device, muttering words Jinho didn't understand. Her blue-tinted fingers moved with precision over the tiny silver bracelet, but nothing seemed to work. The quantum stabilizers are too old, Nari said with frustration on the 7th day. She was sitting at Jinho's kitchen table, small tools spread out before her. This technology was already outdated when I arrived on Earth. Now it's practically ancient. Jinho had been watching her from across the table. He worked with computers all day, and while alien technology was different, the basic principle of fixing things remained the same. "Let me try something," he said, standing up. He went to his garage and returned with his red toolbox. "Maybe we don't need alien tech for this." Neri looked at his simple tools with doubt. "These are very primitive." Jinho smiled. "Sometimes the simple solution is the best one." He went to work, first taking apart an old Wi-Fi router he no longer used. He removed certain parts and connected them with wires. Then he went to the attic and brought down a small satellite dish from his college days. "What are you doing?" Neri asked, following him around the house. "Your device needs to send a signal to space, right?" Jinho explained while working. "That's basically what a satellite dish does. We just need to boost your signal." He cut and connected wires, attached the satellite components to the router parts, and used duct tape to hold everything together. It looked messy, but Jinho knew what he was doing. "Now let me see your bracelet," he said. Neri hesitated, then slowly removed her wrist device. Jinho carefully connected it to his makeshift amplifier. "This shouldn't work," Neri stated flatly as Jinho connected the final wire. "Human technology is too primitive to interface with SUA systems." Jinho pressed a small button on the router component. "But it does," he replied as her device hummed to life, projecting a small blue holographic display above the kitchen table. Neri's violet eyes widened. "How did you know how to do that?" Jinho shrugged. "I didn't. I just tried what made sense." The next morning, Jinho was making breakfast when he heard a strange humming sound from his backyard. He looked out the window to see 3 figures standing on his lawn. They looked similar to Neri, with the same blue-tinted skin, but their clothes were different, more formal and uniform-like. "They're here," Neri said, appearing beside him. "My team." The 3 SUA entered Jinho's house, looking around with expressions of both curiosity and disapproval. They introduced themselves as Ta, Yun, and Hyun. "You've been living openly with this human?" Tai asked Neri, speaking in Korean but with a strange accent. "You were supposed to observe from hiding." "The situation changed," Neri explained. "Jinho found me." Hyun, the tallest of the 3, approached Jinho with a small silver rod. "We'll need to erase his memories of us. It's protocol." Jinho backed away. "Wait, no. You can't just erase my mind." Hyun stepped forward. "It's painless. You won't remember any of this." As they moved toward him, Jinho remembered something from his work as an engineer. Running to his electrical panel in the hallway, he quickly flipped several circuit breakers in a specific sequence. The lights in the house flickered. The silver devices the SUA were holding suddenly went dark. Even Neri's repaired communicator stopped working. "What did you do?" Ta demanded. "Power surge," Jinho explained. "Controlled, but strong enough to temporarily disable electronic devices." He smiled. "Even alien ones, apparently." The 3 SUA looked at each other in surprise. Ta studied Jinho for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Perhaps we underestimated your species' potential," he said. "This was unexpected." "Humans are good at unexpected," Jinho replied. "Now, instead of erasing my memory, maybe we can talk. I have questions, and I think you probably do too." Ta glanced at the others, then nodded again. "Very well. Let's talk." Jinho's life had changed completely in the month since the SUA delegation arrived. Instead of hiding Neri, he now hosted regular meetings with Tai, Yun, and Hyun. They taught him about their technology while he explained human culture. The government had been informed. A small group of officials who understood the importance of keeping the aliens secret from the public for now. One evening, Jinho was grilling in his backyard with Neri. She had grown to love Earth food, especially grilled meat. The night was clear and warm. Suddenly, the sky lit up with strange green lights, like ribbons dancing across the stars. At first, Jin-Ho thought it was beautiful. Northern Lights, he asked, looking up. But they were too far south for that. Nari's face went completely pale, the blue tint of her skin fading to almost white. No, she whispered. They're here. The void found us. She grabbed Jin-Ho's arm and pulled him inside the house. Her hands were shaking as she activated her communication device. Tae's face appeared in the hologram. We see them, Ta said, his voice tense. They must have followed our scout ship. Prepare for evacuation. What's happening? Jin-Ho asked after Nari ended the call. Who are the void? Energy beings, Nari explained quickly while gathering her things. They destroyed our home system. They consume all forms of energy, even the energy in living things. We thought we lost them, but they found us again. Within hours, military vehicles arrived at Jin-Ho's house. He and Nari were taken to a secure facility deep underground. There, he found not just Tae's team but dozens of Siwa who had been in hiding on Earth. They were working frantically with human military officials. Our weapons aren't working, Tai explained to a room full of nervous generals. The void adapt quickly. They absorb energy from our shields and laser systems, growing stronger with each attack. The humans looked at the data on their screens. The strange energy patterns in the sky were spreading, coming closer to Earth. Jin-Ho studied the readings. He thought about how his simple technology had interfaced with Nari's advanced systems. An idea formed in his mind. What if we use old technology? Jin-Ho suggested. The room went quiet as everyone turned to look at him. Analog systems, mechanical defenses, things that don't emit the energy signatures they're looking for. Explain, said General Kim, a stern woman who led the operation. The void feed on energy, right? Jin-Ho stood up and walked to the main screen. They're used to fighting against advanced energy weapons. But what about old radio waves? Mechanical systems, things so simple and outdated they wouldn't recognize them as technology. The Siwa scientists looked skeptical, but the human military leaders seemed interested. We have warehouses full of World War II equipment, General Kim said. Radio transmitters, mechanical targeting systems. Could we modify them? For the next 2 days, Jin-Ho worked without sleep. He helped create a hybrid defense system, a combination of Siwa deflector technology and modified old human radio equipment. The old transmitters were adjusted to broadcast disruption patterns that the Siwa believed might confuse the void. When the first wave of void entities entered Earth's atmosphere, appearing as swirling clouds of green light, the defense system was activated. Old radio towers around the world broadcast the special signals, while Siwa technology created a thin energy barrier that would collapse in a specific pattern, leading the void into the disruptive broadcast zones. From the command center, Jin-Ho and Nari watched the monitors. The green clouds of energy approached, then suddenly scattered when they hit the broadcast fields. The swirling patterns broke apart, unable to maintain cohesion. It worked, Nari whispered, gripping Jin-Ho's hand tightly. Her violet eyes were wide with hope. Your simple technology confused them. They couldn't adapt because they didn't recognize it as a weapon. The room erupted in cheers. Humans and Siwa alike celebrated the success. Jin-Ho felt a moment of pride, but it was short-lived. On the screen, he could see smaller green clouds regrouping at the edge of the atmosphere. But they'll be back with more, Nari said quietly, seeing the same thing. They always come back stronger. Jin-Ho squeezed her hand. Then we'll be ready with something even more unexpected. 2 weeks after the first void attack, Jin-Ho stood nervously in a large hangar at a military base. Today was the day the Siwa Council would arrive on Earth. The whole world now knew about aliens. The discovery had caused panic at first, but when people learned the aliens had been peacefully studying Earth for centuries, and that they now faced a common enemy, most accepted the situation. Jin-Ho adjusted his tie. He wasn't used to formal clothes, but Nari had insisted this was important. Are you ready? Nari asked, appearing beside him. She wore special Siwa formal clothing, a flowing silver outfit that seemed to move like water. "As ready as I'll ever be," Jinho replied. A bright light filled the hangar as a large silver ship appeared, seemingly out of nowhere. The doors of the ship opened, and 7 Siwa emerged, each wearing elaborate robes. The tallest one stepped forward. "I am Elder Min, head of the Siwa Council. We come in peace and friendship." The human representatives stepped forward, world leaders and military officials. But to everyone's surprise, Elder Min walked past them directly to Jinho. "You must be Park Jinho," the elder said, "the one who fulfilled the ancient agreement." Jinho bowed respectfully. "I didn't know about any agreement until a month ago." Elder Min smiled. "Yet you honored it all the same. The marriage contract between your ancestor and our people has brought our worlds together at exactly the right time." What had begun as a strange misunderstanding, finding Nari in his basement, had now become the foundation for humanity's first alliance with another species. Over the next few days, humans and Siwa worked together to prepare for the coming void invasion. Jinho's approach of combining technologies became Earth's main defense strategy. Siwa provided advanced materials and energy systems, while humans contributed creative strategies and manufacturing abilities. "The Void expect advanced technology," Jinho explained to a room full of engineers. "They won't expect us to attack with both high-tech and low-tech weapons at the same time." All around the world, strange combinations of technology were built. Quantum shields protected cities, while old-fashioned mechanical catapults stood ready to launch special disruptor devices. Siwa AI systems worked alongside human analog targeting methods from decades past. When the Void returned a week later, they came in force. The sky turned green with their energy forms, but Earth was ready. The defense systems activated in sequence. When the Void adapted to one type of defense, another completely different one would engage. The attack lasted for 3 days, but in the end, the Void retreated. For the first time in their history, the Siwa had seen the Void defeated. 2 days after the battle, Jinho returned to his house, which had somehow survived undamaged. He sat on his porch, watching the sunset and thinking about how much his life had changed since buying this house with its secret basement room. He heard the door open behind him. Nari came out and sat beside him on the porch step. "The council is very impressed with Earth," she said. "They say humans have the most creative minds they've ever seen." Jinho smiled. "We're good at thinking outside the box." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the colors in the sky change from orange to deep blue. "So," Jinho said finally, turning to look at her, "are we actually married by your people's standards? Was that contract real?" Nari laughed softly. "The arrangement was diplomatic fiction. Just a way for our people to establish contact with yours someday." She paused, then took his hand in hers. "But I wouldn't mind making it real." Jinho squeezed her hand gently. "I think I'd like that." As darkness fell, stars began to appear in the night sky. Jinho looked up, realizing that some of those points of light weren't stars at all but Siwa ships. They were no longer hidden observers but allies to humanity. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now," Nari said, looking up with him, "your people take their first steps into a much larger universe, and I'll be right here with you." "In the house with the alien in the basement," Jinho said with a smile. "Who turned out to be your wife after all," Nari added, leaning her head on his shoulder.